Nigerian living in Abu Dhabi once paid 21 million naira for a land in Nigeria. He wasn't buying a loan. They paid. Then they waited for allocation. Nothing came. And eventually, they could not even reach the agent they bought from. Because he was the one who introduced his colleagues into the deal, he had to pay them back from his pocket. That is one of the 6 property scams I'm going to tell you about in this video. I'm MiraEmma from MiraEmma Properties. I help Nigerians at home and abroad buy land and property safely in Nigeria. So, if you or someone you know is planning to buy property here, especially if the person is abroad, share this video with them. Let's talk about the first property scam that is common here in Nigeria. The same land sold to different people. A buyer bought land from an individual, paid everything complete, got his documents. He thought everything is settled. Then another buyer shows up and said, "This is my land." This buyer also had his documents. So now you have 2 buyers standing on the same land claiming ownership. In this particular story, the matter became so serious that the police were involved. Before the buyer was reallocated to a different piece of land in a different location. I want you to imagine this. You are living abroad, you've paid for land, and in your mind you are thinking, I own a land in this area. Meanwhile, another person somewhere is saying the same thing. That's the scam. The same land has been sold to different people. And that is why when you are buying land from an individual, don't just ask, is this land available? You need to know who owns the land. And you need to establish the history of that land before you put your money down. The second scam that is common here in Nigeria is the beautiful fake documents. Sometimes the document is what convinces you. You see the C of O, you see a survey plan, you see signatures, you see dates, you see government stamps. Everything looks official. But a document looking official does not automatically mean the document is genuine. I remember a case where I marketed a property somewhere in Lagos State, and there were discrepancies in the documents that were presented for the property. A client living abroad spotted it and said, Mira, why do we have different dates? It's not adding up. I have to look at it very well. Then I reached out to the developer. I asked the developer, why do we have different dates? The developer too wasn't aware. He will find out from his lawyer. A document can look real and still have a problem. It could be forged, it could have been altered, or it could even be a genuine document that does not actually relate to the property you are buying. So don't stop at, they've showed me the C of O. I've seen the C of O. The question is, who verified it? Does this document actually belong to this property? Do your own search. Use a professional you are appointed, especially if you are abroad. Scam 3 is very common in Port Harcourt, Lagos, even here in Abuja. The land under government acquisition. Let me tell you about what happened early this year. A client of mine wanted a buy and build land in Port Harcourt. He asked me to help him find one. I couldn't find something that actually fits what he wanted. Later, he called me and told me he has gotten something. I asked him where. He gave me the details. I told him, hold on, let me do a due diligence on this land before you pay. We checked the property and we find out that this land is under government acquisition. Now, here's what made this one interesting. The land in question was over 40 million naira. I told my client what we found. He didn't buy it. He actually thanked me because the check saved him from putting over 40 million naira into a property he shouldn't have bought. And that is why I always tell people, don't just look at the land. Don't just walk around it. Don't just listen to the seller telling you this land is free, no encumbrances on it. Do your check. Because sometimes the problem with the land is not something you can see with your eyes. The land can look perfect. The location can tick the box. People can actually be building around it. There can still be an issue on the status of the land. In this case, my client didn't lose over 40 million naira because we checked, so do the same. The fourth property scam I want to talk about is very common in Abuja. The scam is the estate that was never built. Let's talk about the estate that looks amazing on paper, on the brochure, on the 3Ds. You see a beautiful picture, the big gates, good roads, street lights, a clubhouse, and so many other things. They are all on paper, right? And you're also told this estate is a buy and build. You are convinced. They say buy now, and you buy and wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, nothing happens at all. I know a client who bought land more than 4 years ago. Until today, she hasn't been allocated, and the estate hasn't been developed the way she was told. And now she's asking for a refund. Now, let me be clear. A development taking longer than expected doesn't automatically mean somebody planned to scam the buyer. Things happen, projects can be delayed, but as a buyer, you still have to ask yourself, what am I actually buying? Am I merely buying a promise of what this estate is going to become? Because when somebody is showing you beautiful renderings of what they are going to build, I want you to ask them, what have you built already? Where can I see what you've built? Who is already living there? Don't just look at the new launch, look at their history, because anybody can show you what they plan to build, but what they have delivered tells you much more. And then we have the 5th scam. This scam is the agent who was never there. Let's go back to the story I told you in the beginning. This happened to a client of mine who lives in Abu Dhabi. This happened back in 2018. He told me he was young at that time. He was coming in and he was spending it. And one of the things he thought was to get a landed property. Then he saw an agent online marketed a property in Lagos. He was convinced of it. He introduced his colleagues into buying with him. The total amount was 21 million naira. And this is where the story became very painful. They trusted him. They also bought. Then everybody waited for their allocation. Nothing came. Eventually, they couldn't reach the agent anymore. He told me that he eventually paid back the people he convinced. And he said that experience made it difficult for him to convince people to invest again. That's really what stayed with me. It's because sometimes the loss from a property scam is not just the money you put into the property. You can lose people's trust in you. And you can spend years trying to fix something that took you one day to pay for. So before you send your money to any agent, verify the person. Verify the company they claim to represent. Verify the payment details. The 6th scam we're talking about in this video is the family that kept coming back. Because somebody can genuinely be part of a family and still not have the authority to sell the family's land. You meet one person, they tell you, this is our family land, we can sell it. The family head has given us the authority. They take you there, you negotiate, you pay, sign an agreement with them, you think everything is settled. Another person showed up saying the land was never sold. Who sold the land? And the person is asking that he has to be paid too. Another person comes. Who gave you permission to build here? This is our family land. I was not aware it was sold. Then you've already started building. When you think everything is settled, then another bunch of family appears. And suddenly, what you thought was a straightforward property transaction has become a family dispute. I know of cases in Port Harcourt where buyers had to involve the police because different people kept coming, laying claims on the land. And this is where people make a mistake. They think, I'm buying directly from the family, it's safe. No, you still have to establish who has the authority to represent the family in the transaction. Who else needs to consent to this transaction? What evidence do you have that the family has agreed to the transaction? If you can't establish that clearly, please don't rush into that deal. Don't let excitement make you skip the part where you are to check what you are actually buying. Once your money is gone, the conversation changes, right? If somebody in your family or you yourself is planning to buy property here, especially somebody living abroad, share this video with them. And if you're currently looking at a property and you are not sure what you should verify before you commit, send me the details.